Hello and welcome to Every Mario Party Ranked, where I take every Mario Party game and I rank them.
Given the series' dizzying heights and pitiful lows, I'll alternate good and bad titles, building towards the best and worst Mario Party installments of every game released minus the top 100. Buckle up, gang, this'll be a long'un. 7th worst, Mario Party 8, the one with the too many motion controls. As the 8th installment released just within the Wii's launch window, you'd expect Mario Party 8 to be some lazy, motion control driven cash grab, and it doesn't do much to break that expectation. The formula still works, but 8 really does nothing to rise above simple mediocrity. It takes on a pseudo-realistic visual tone, with the boards being an array of slightly more grounded locations, like a fantastic train board, a god-awful boardwalk board, and Monopoly. But don't let that convince you this one isn't weird. The beautifully nightmarish transformations from the candy items should be proof of that. Waluigi takes out a rose when he wins, you can play as a blooper. But why though? The minigames are more grounded too, for better and worse, with many concepts just too dull for a Mario Party title, and others seem like bizarre conclusions to crappy sitcoms, my personal favourite being Snow Way Out. Just imagining what series of events led to 3 guys on a roof while another sits attacking them in a modified snow machine makes this an instant classic for sure. Mario Party 8 is a decent, derpy game turned mediocre with an over-reliance on motion controls and subpar original content, altogether fairly unremarkable for the series. Although, the talking hat, playable Mario enemies, and modern city stage basically makes this the spiritual predecessor to Mario Odyssey. That's kind of amazing. 7th best, Mario Party Star Rush, the surprisingly decent one. Given how fast the series has been going downhill recently, 2016's Star Rush exceeded all expectations with its impressive not sucking. Instead of trying to improve the garbage party car or go back to the classic gameplay of older, it just throws a bunch of ideas at a wall, and hey, some of them work. Toad Scramble is the closest this game has to a main gameplay style, which is a shame because it's not very good, being both overly complicated and plagued by constant repetition of the terrible boss minigames like Mega Goomba, who you defeat by stealing its apples. Balloon Bash is the closest this game gets to classic Mario Party gameplay, except the boards are tiny and everyone moves at once. It's okay, if only because the 4-player minigames are pretty good. Then you have a new puzzle variant, a complete waste of time, a decent if underdeveloped Mario Rock Band mashup, a Mario Minesweeper mashup that has no right being as addictive as it is, and Coinathlon, or the reason this game made the good list. In it, you progress around a board by collecting coins in minigames, with the objective being to complete a certain number of laps first to win. On top of that, you can use items against other players which affect their games as they play. All the coin minigames in Star Rush lend themselves to building combos and being sabotaged by other players, which all just adds to the experience. It's fast, frantic, intensely competitive, and the most fun original Mario Party gameplay the franchise has seen for years. And although rather bare bones, it's the single reason this game is well worth playing. 6th worst, Mario Party 5, the one with the weird side modes. Clunkily transitioning between new and old Mario Party, this marks the lowest of the GameCube era, mostly due to awful balancing of the luck-based mechanics and a bizarre emphasis on unnecessary bonus modes. Even the Star Spirits can't save this one. 5 cuts out the item shops and boo huts, which before had ensured players winning more of the minigames had a clear advantage, and floods you with coins through happening spaces, so you almost always have enough to buy a star. So basically the winner each game is more determined by what numbers your dice rolls and what capsules you just happen to be given.
Mario Party always involves luck. It's the little sprinkle on top, but 5 features it less as a sprinkle and more as a the lid fell off and all came tumbling out.
It makes the game feel more of a slog than ever, which the dull board designs don't help. And whoever's idea it was to make the solo mode playing just dual games against just the Koopa Kids on just half of each board should be fired from a cannon into the sun. The minigames contain some classics like Pushy Penguins, but also a lot of duds like Submarathon and Mathletes. Oh, it's exactly as fun as it sounds. There seems to be a greater focus on luck, and the balancing for the 1 vs 3 minigames is notably horrendous, with nearly all of them heavily favouring one side. Mario Party 5 may be a failure, but it'll be far more fondly remembered for what it added, like fully 3D boards, DK events, and orbs.
It sucks, however, because instead of fine-tuning these or stopping to think about how they'd affect the gameplay as a whole, they thought to add a build-your-own fighter mech mode.
Somewhat poetically, Mario Party 5 fails not out of lack of trying, but for, like Icarus, it flew too close to the sun. Also, f*** Rainbow Dream. 6th best, Mario Party 2, the fan favourite one.
Ooh, we getting some controversy on this Mario Party YouTube video.
2 is a solid installment, and I understand, you can dress Donkey Kong as a wizard, but I don't quite get this one's reputation as best in the franchise. Sure, it's got a solid selection of minigames, but half of them are just stolen from the first game. And sure, it introduced battle minigames and duel minigames, but also item minigames. And why, in a party game, do you want to sit through 30 seconds of just one player possibly earning an item? The biggest draw to this game is the boards, and the immense personality of each one. Each based off film genres like western, sci-fi, horror, pirate, Bowser. Each course sees the characters dress up in that theme's attire, which may seem a small touch, but is just an amazing addition. I really don't understand why it wasn't brought back for future titles. On top of that, each board has its own specific item and duel minigame, which is cool at first, until you realise that means during any one game you're going to be playing the same duel or item minigame every time. And out of the 6 main boards, Mystery Land and Bowser Land aren't even very fun. The minigames are a blend of remixed versions from the first game and originals, but they're mostly just so floaty and unrefined and a little too simple. Like, just spamming A to win, just spamming A to win, a horse race, and counting. But just so this 6th best segment doesn't turn out too negative, I should bring up the excellent soundtrack, fine-tuned board mechanics, and Spaceland, Horrorland, and Westernland are fantastic. It's a great game, but it's not the best. 5th worst, Mario Party, the original one.
Ooh, we getting some controversy now.
Yes, it's the first game, and we wouldn't have any others without it, but the original Mario Party does suffer somewhat from first installment-itis, in that in introducing the formula, it did so incredibly unrefined, and so compared to future games, the first really doesn't look so good. Far too many single-player only games play progressing through a standard board, which repeat non-stop, which combined too with the mushroom space, which can help or hinder you entirely at random, and chance spaces make the game extremely reliant on luck. Plus, there's only 50 minigames, 39 multiplayer, many of which are very similar, and most of which just aren't very good, being too floaty, confusing, or stupidly reliant on rolling the N64's rock-hard analog stick to the extent that Nintendo had to start issuing gloves to cope with the blisters this game gave people. Imagine that, a game literally painful to play. Some single-player games are insultingly easy, others frustratingly hard, most 1 vs 3 minigames are horrifically one-sided. It's fair to say some extra fine-tuning would really be in order. The boards, despite the game boasting an impressive amount of, are similarly underwhelming, with Wario's Battle Canyon and Peach's Birthday Cake bringing up the rear as most worst, and why is it a birthday cake if all the mechanics are plant-based? That doesn't even begin to make sense.
Mario Party was a pretty innovative game, but nowadays it's just not fun to play, and there are far better experiences in this series to try.
5th best, Mario Party 4, the one with Booksquirm. Now we're getting into the goldies. The first for the GameCube, and also my personal childhood Mario Party, 4 is just as fun today as it was back in 2002. Bank and item spaces are gone, most likely to make room for the new mushroom spaces that are everywhere, forming a large part of the game's identity given how tactical usage of the mini and mega mushrooms can become.
Mechanically it's solid, my only problems with the game come in with visual design and pacing.
The game seems much slower than previous, wasting your time often with events in which nothing happens. Chance time is replaced with the slow-ass reversal of fortune, and a special mention also goes to the stupidly long genie cutscene you have to watch every time. And there's a few graphical choices which just bug me. The boards are now grid-like with thick grey borders, which combined with the bland backgrounds kill any sort of immersion and makes them all feel the same. A big departure from 2 and 3, which use the geometric shapes to give each stage a sense of character. The only board I feel benefits from this is Goomba's Greedy Gala, and aside from the more interesting structure, I also love the idea of a Mario Party board which not only glorifies gambling, but encourages you to bribe the host of a casino to cheat victory. Priceless.
But while the boards aren't great, the minigames are the best selection within the franchise. Manta Rings, Reverse-A-Bomb, Photo Finish, Bob-on Breakers, Mr. Blizzard's Brigade, Stamp Out. I could go on. And I will. Paths of Peril, Fruits of Doom, Order Up, Avalanche, and what I'd call the greatest Mario Party minigame ever created, Booksquirm.
So if I ever make a top Mario Party minigames list and Booksquirm's not number one, you'll know that I've sold out to big Nintendo corporations because Booksquirm is best, and that will always be true. While not as immersive or refined as some others, Mario Party 4 is chock full of some of the best MB content, from the weirdly amazing intro to the near perfect selection of minigames. Well worth a shot for new or old fans to the series. Fourth worst, Mario Party 9, the beginning of the end one. Introducing the party car, having to wait several turns for each goddamn minigame, and handing the reins of this beloved franchise to the studio behind Wii Party and Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. This game is bad. Because 4 players traversing an open game board was apparently too confusing, 9 opts for all players moving together in a near entirely linear board, where all success and failure is determined not by strategy, not even by minigame victories, but more just whatever you and everyone else happens to roll on the now 6-sided dice. Because that's the one area these games could have improved, realistic dice physics. And while Hudson Soft was perfectly comfortable taking creative steps with the Mario universe and lore, NDQ plays it way more conservatively with its environments, seemingly ripped straight from the modern platformers. It just feels uncreative, seemingly more concerned with building the Mario brand than being a good game in its own right. Bowser Station is cool, but the rest just feel utterly soulless and bland. The mini-games for whenever you play them are okay, but suffer the same problem of bland concepts too safe for the Mario series. Even the platforming ones just feel so dull, the speed you play them at doesn't help either. Boss minigames are alright, but ultimately don't save the experience. Mario Party 9, ha! It only gets worse from here. Fourth best, Mario Party DS, the properly good handheld one. The last Hudson Soft game was a fine title to go out with, complete with a minigame selection remaking many of the series' best outings and a huge collection of unlockables. Being more about the single player, the boards are designed to fit into the most coherent story mode the series has seen, with minigames and boards built around the story's central theme. Everything's small. It doesn't change up gameplay a huge deal, but gives some nice concepts for minigames, such as a remake of Bumper Balls with soap in a sink. The attention to detail is excellent, with everything fitting the miniature aesthetic. That is, except for the amount of content. Ho ho, segue out of 10. Party, story and minigame modes are standard, but DS also includes an achievement-style unlockable system, and a compilation of all the addictive puzzle games from Mario Parties 3 through 7 alongside the all-new Triangle Twisters, which was just a really great idea for a handheld entry to have. Board gameplay is consistent with 6 and 7, the only real difference being how much cheaper items are and how much you'll be subsequently relying on them for victory. Although the AIs only seem to be interested in the item snatching snag bags, which they mostly use to steal each other's snag bags. Hey, you don't need a snag bag, you've got a snag bag, you're using the fucking snag bag! Solid boards, fun minigames, and enough extra features to keep one entertained for hours more. What else do you need? Mario Party DS is a delightfully necessary game that proves a party game formula such as this can exist and thrive on a handheld. Unlike... Third worst, Mario Party Island Tour. Mario Party Island Tour is a great game. Just kidding. What a joke. This game drains me. Third best. Oh, well, right, I'll get into this one. Apparently, after responding to criticisms of Mario Party 9, this one folds in concepts from the classic formula. By which I mean it looks like classic Mario Party getting rid of the party car, but all the actual problems are, if anything, much worse. The issue wasn't that everyone moved at once, it was that forced incredibly linear boards, and the system of mini-stars determining victory doled out virtually at random makes the whole experience contingent on luck rather than skill. Keeping the linearity in mini-stars but having everyone move separately creates a game just as broken, unfair and boring, but now even slower. Combine that with somehow even more soulless boards, including the aggressively dull Banzai build Mad Mountain, and boards which steal mechanics from Sonic Shuffle, what? And you have a straight up train wreck. Rocket Road is cool looking, a Rainbow Road fused with Mario Galaxy board, but given there's so few minigames and success is mostly decided by what numbers you roll on the dice, it's just the same thing each time with a near totally randomly selected winner, so just what's the point? Also featuring Starcross Skyway, which in its constant rewarding of the player in first, while attempting to turn the players in third and fourth against each other, makes for a depressingly accurate portrayal of free market capitalism.
It almost pains me to say this, given how much I delight in trashing this as the absolute worst Mario Party, but some of the minigames are good.
Sure, some of them have so little effort put into them it's just embarrassing, but some, like Fisty Cloud, Slipknot, and Get Along Goomba, are decent. And given you don't have to play the main game to see them, makes the game at least worth something in the bargain bins. A trait which honestly can't be said for the worst two games on here. Third best, Mario Party 7, the worldly one. Ever thought this franchise needed a bit more culture? Enter Mario Party 7, a luxury cruise through boards fusing Mario charm and real-world locations, hosted by the mean bean in brown, Toadsworth. There's an Egyptian board, a Chinese mythology board, and my personal favourite, Grand Canal, a board modelled off downtown Venice, complete with water boats and a juggling blooper. Another classic is Neon Heights, which takes on the shape of the New York skyline, combined with every non-offensive American stereotype I could think of.
The try and fail to solve race relations space was probably an idea best left in the drawing board.
These are easily the best boards of any Mario Party, not being too gimmicky but enough to stand out, and just the attention to detail in establishing each country's map is astounding. Like how the shops in the Grand Canal have Verona and Veneziana masks in them, or how the Koopas in the Dutch-themed Windmillville are wearing clogs. These already fantastic maps are then improved with the effects of Bowser Time, an event where Bowser pops up for board-specific events, taking over an orb shop, or the most evil, having every player partake in a holiday photo, bombing his own photo, making you pay double for the photo, and then not giving you the photo.
Truly, he is the villain to end all villains.
The minigames are more absurd than ever though, from spinning a hole-ridden disc with jet engines to exile players on pogo sticks to the city below, to the utterly brilliant Monty's Revenge, where players partake in a game of reverse whack-a-mole for as long as possible without being hit. Throw in a solid mission-based solo mode and exclusive 8-player features, really funny, like any Mario Party fans have 7 friends. And you've got a sweet package. There are signs of running out of ideas, samey minigames and another goddamn Bowser board, but with its awesome worlds, 88 minigames and refreshingly fast-paced single-player mode, Mario Party 7 is a ton of fun. Second worst, Mario Party Advance, the why was this made one. Mario Party. But on the Game Boy Advance, your developers were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if rolling dice to drive around a drab board game doing fetch quests is a terrible idea for a video game. There are minigames, but they're more an inconvenience, mostly being single player and ungodly boring. The main mode sees you traverse shrooms sitting on a number of dice, meeting townsfolk and helping them with problems one at a time. And they're not all fetch quests, some of them involve maths. Each turn moving takes a die away, and if you run out, you lose and need to start your quest over, which given they largely don't tell you where to go, and the minigames required for obtaining more dice are often pretty vague with their objectives and mechanics, will happen a lot. It's less than fun, and given the competitive element is no longer present, the abundance of luck mechanics just seem obnoxious and only really there to distract players from how very little there is to this game at all. The only thing saving this from the lowest spot is that how silly and trivial all of the stories and problems are is a little cute, and dare I say, charming? Like when you interview the suspects for a Koopa bank heist, subtly asking them straight up, where's the money? To prove the Koopa's cousin guilty, when he reveals it was all a big joke and is immediately let go. This time, he's gone a bit too far. He bloody robbed a bank. What are you people?
Despite all the garbage, Advance was saved from the bottom spot for its genuine heart, personality, and making me believe in a slightly more magical world. It's still really bad though.
Second best, Mario Party 3, the most classic one.
Why is this the best N64 Mario Party? 1 word, 4 syllables. Waluigi.
Not only was this his Mario Party introduction and only time being given a full board, that board being among the best in the franchise, but he's also kind of the villain of the game. The game teases a return of Bowser before at the finale of story mode the main man in purple comes along, beats him up and then challenges you to his own board with Bowser's seemingly dying breath breath being for you to avenge him. That's pretty hardcore. But memes aside, this game is easily the best of the N64 trilogy, and was pretty damn close to my favourite of the franchise. The game takes place inside the Millennium Stars toy box, creating this neat aesthetic I would describe as a combination of Yoshi's Story and Paper Mario. In it, you'll find some of the best boards the series has seen. Chilly Waters with its breakable central frozen lake, Spiny Desert with its thematically fitting Mirage stars, and the aforementioned ridiculous Waluigi Island. I feel this game nails the balancing with items and events too, making it the most competitive Mario Party overall. Single player minigames are slightly less of a pain given there's fewer of them, sometimes an item space will just give you an item, and they're less annoying when not locked to any specific board.
Although Game Guy is a despicable sack of fuck.
Dual boards were the other new addition, a more strategic take on the formula, specifically for two-player games where you recruit classic Mario foes to fight and defend for you. I think the lesser chance involved lends itself to a slower type of game, and it works quite well once you get used to it. Pair that all with a sublime collection of wholly original minigames, 71 in all, and scarcely a dud among them, and a dumb yet oddly hilarious story mode, and you have a sublime package. The lack of rubber banding can make the game a little intimidating for new players, but playing against friends who know their way around a skeleton key nets a wonderful time for all. I'm not sorry. Overall worst, Mario Party 10.
The motto of this game is, if it's broke, don't fix it.
Mario Party 9 somewhat shat the bed with its changes to the formula, but was saved partly by pockets of originality. Strip away those and it's nothing. Mario Party 10 is a nothing game. The tedious party car and all the luck-based garbage that comes with it return, with seemingly no attempts to fix any of the problems, but throw in a crappy selection of samey minigames complete with forced mic and motion controls, and we have this series' rock bottom. The big new thing is Bowser Party, where the 4 players try to drive away from Bowser. If he catches up with you, which of course he does because the RNG literally resets itself if Bowser's roll isn't high enough, you play a minigame. So it's basically the main game, but even more predictable, and on the same half-baked regurgitation of SMBU stages this game calls its original boards. And you'd have thought with how little effort they put in, this game would have a fair bit of content, but instead Mario Party 10 features no story mode, no real collectibles, and the least board of any game in the franchise, tied with DS.
That is, at least, excluding the paid extras.
I've always been skeptical of Amiibo. Sure, Nintendo could dress it up with plastic figurines, but that doesn't change what it is. On-disc DLC, a way of blocking off sections of a full-price game behind a needless paywall. And you can argue that it's just a form of unlocking extra content, entirely separate, additional content to that which you paid for when buying the game. But when it pushes its Amiibo functionality this hard on the main menu, and when it's adding features to a game so otherwise devoid of content, I get a little suspicious about the intention. New playable characters include Rosalina and Spike, you know, Spike from that one level of Mario 3. Hey, remember when this series was good? Because literally the closest this gets to originality is something that was in New Super Mario Bros. That everyone just forgot about. Let that sink in for a minute. And it's the little things that ironically make this game stand out within the series. This is the menu screen for Mario Party 3. See how it effortlessly sets up the art style and premise without sacrificing clarity? This is the menu screen for Mario Party 5. See how it fits the dreamy atmosphere of the game while introducing the Star Spirits? This is the menu screen to Mario Party 10. See how it's completely devoid of character with the first third of the screen sectioned off to promote the plastic fucking figurines, as this is what this franchise has become, just fucking kill me now. Unfixed garbage mechanics, bare bones gameplay and tedious content, Mario Party 10 is a shadow of the franchise it yields from. Setting out to make this list before I played all the games, I was really expecting to be more angry for the overall worst segment, but this just isn't worth it. Don't play Mario Party 10, it's bad. Overall best, Mario Party 6.
Mario Party 6 doesn't do anything spectacularly different or better than other games, but in the most solid combination of boards, minigames, and original mechanics, you can't really do much better.
Day and Night is the name of this game, which permeates both boards and minigames. Many of the minigames in Mario Party 6 have day-night variants, some of which are kinda brilliant. Such as What Comes Up, where in the day version you climb up paratroopers to climb higher than any other player, and in the night version you avoid paratroopers to reach the ground first. Or in Conveyor Belt, where the sides of the 1 and 3 respectively flip, alongside some balancing tweaks to make virtually two completely different games. As for the boards, every 3 turns they switch from day to night, which affects all of them in different ways. New paths, different events, and DK and Bowser spaces alternating. Boo shops close during the day, and item shops only stock 3 items at once, which means skill players who would win enough minigames can't just count on boo shops and buying expensive items to win without engaging in chasing stars.
Of all the games, I feel 6 nails the balance between skill and luck best, partly for how the day-night system allows them to nerf some of the more overpowered skill-fueled mechanics in previous games without scrapping them entirely.
The boards don't top 3s or 7s, but I really enjoy the creativity in EGAD's garage, and Fair Square is, I'll just say it, the best board in the franchise. It's town-themed, shaped in 2 concentric circles with gambling outlets and opportunity to rack up coins on the outskirts, and a town square with an unmoving star space you can buy up to 5 stars in at once in the center. Then throw in turning to nighttime, making the risks and rewards higher in the events, and can change the prices of stars to as low as 5 coins apiece, makes this board among the most mental and fun of the series. I tried to make 6 a drinking game once and accidentally chose Fair Square after basing the rules for shots around people getting stars. I don't remember much of that night. The minigames are, after Mario Party 4, the best selection in the franchise, featuring pure skill-based classics like Lift Leapers and Snow World, more chaotic affairs like Note to Self, team minigames requiring actual cooperation, and minigames based off mowing, dusting, and window cleaning, which are all somehow fantastic. And while the microphone gimmick is garbage, you could just turn that off and still have 73 multiplayer, mostly classics, many of which have alternate versions. Mario Party 6 won't change dissenters' minds, but it's the strongest refinement of the Mario Party formula the series has seen. Some of the best minigames, boards, music, and the best fusion of luck and skill to win makes this, for me, the ultimate party game, let alone Mario Party installment. Play this game. It's good. Thank you for watching this video. I know it was a long one. I'll put the list of the 14 games from best to worst on the side here for clarity, and if you'd like to see more of this kind of video, tell me and I shall gladly oblige. Don't forget to like, comment, call your senators to show support of repealing the FCC's decision on net neutrality, and subscribe.